Hey guys, it's John2 here, and with the Apocalypse Rising 2 release just around the corner here, I thought it's finally time I do this video. I've delayed it way too long, and I'm sorry about that, but we got plenty of information, and for those of you who don't know, the Apocalypse Rising 2 Alpha is released for 1,000 Robux on the 28th, which, as of this video being uploaded, is tomorrow, so I am unbelievably hyped. But anyways, this video is unscripted, so I apologize if it's a little bit more of a mess, but we'll see how it goes. So, a few days ago, actually 6 days ago as of recording this, Gus Manak made a post on the Apocalypse Rising 2 subreddit going over what the alpha will contain, and I'm just going to go over that quick to start with, and then we'll go over a few other things and fun stuff like that. So, features, he says, characters with full jogging, sprinting, and crouching animations. Notice how proning was not included in that. I'll get to that later. Arms will be visible in first person, and the fire will react to the player aiming around the screen. Health, hunger, and thirst will be present and functional. That's good to know. The basics are in the game. Warning, some aspects of the character and controls will be highly experimental during alpha. Info about these features are intentionally omitted from this section to provide the best test environment when alpha releases. So, I have no idea what this actually refers to, but I guess we'll find out when the alpha releases. Things will be different. Anyways, moving on. A grid-based inventory and item interaction. Items require different amounts of space, eat food, use health items, load magazines, and add attachments to firearms, search containers, equip clothing, and transfer items, all with the inventory. So, we've kind of seen a little bit of this before. Basically, vehicles won't be in here, I'll get to that later, but a car wheel would take up more space than a magazine. Probably a can of tuna would take up less space than a water bottle, I don't know. But just it's kind of like the size of an item determines how much space it'll take up in your inventory. It won't be the old Epoch thing, where each item takes up one slot and some take up two and some take up three. You'll get to move things around and organize your inventory and try to fit things in the most efficient way possible. Equipable items will include backpacks, vests, belts, hats, accessories, shirts, and pants. The last four of which will not expand your inventory capacity, while the other three will. So, backpacks, vests, belts. Those are the things you really, really want. They will increase your inventory capacity, and I assume there'll be more than one type, which will probably increase your inventory capacity in more than one size and more than one shape. So, it's possible that one belt might have a thin row of a lot of inventory spaces, while another one might have a thick row of just a few. So, in the second one, you'll be able to fit bigger items, but less items. And the first one, you'll be able to fit more items, but not the bigger items. So I don't know, I'm just speculating here, but this will be interesting. Next up, firearms will not retain perfect vertical accuracy over range. As the bullet travels, it will drop to the ground in an arc, and damage will be reduced over distance. Now this is just a fancy way of saying it has bullet drop, and bullets do less damage the farther they go. So basically, kind of think of it as Phantom Forces. It's the same kind of concept. Almost every firearm can fit attachments, those being underbarrels, optics, and suppressors. There's gonna be no other slot. Haha. No active animations for the firearms will be present, except for the recoil from the firearm. And when you reload, the character will simply lower the weapon until finished. So, in the future, you'll probably be able to see your character removing a magazine, replacing it, kind of like Phantom Forces kind of thing. But as of right now, you'll just see them lower their weapon until they're finished reloading. So, early in the alpha, it'll probably be like the current APOC system, only you'll be able to see when you're reloading, but still won't have a really good idea of when you'll be done reloading. Which was my main problem with the reloading in APOC 1 to start with, but as the situation is only temporary, I'm not going to complain about it. Next, a simple group system will be present if we have time to implement it. So, I'm hoping it's present, because I want to do collabs and stuff, so I'm hoping that gets in the game. The primary purpose of a group system during alpha is to ID members and prevent friendly fire. Does this mean that being in a group does not block friendly damage? That would be interesting. At a minimum, this is what we'll try to have ready. If not, it will be added quickly after alpha is released. So, I'm hoping it's added when alpha is released, but if not, okay. Zombies will be similar to APOC's functionality. However, they will have basic animations. Zombies will also occasionally spawn inside houses. So, in the current APOC, zombies only spawn outdoors, on roads, in empty open places, never inside or on buildings. In APOC 2, you go inside a house, there could be a zombie right there. In which case, you're in a lot of trouble probably. The devs have talked about several new things for zombies, possibly like an alarm call kind of thing, where one zombie sees you, shrieks or whatever, and then alerts all the other zombies around it, so when one zombie sees you, suddenly you have a horde after you. But apparently that will not be in the alpha, and it's still a concept, so I'm not sure if it'll be added later or not. Essential data saving. Your inventory and stats will save when you leave and rejoin alpha, but we likely will reset data periodically for updates and patches. So basically, it's like the current APOC. If you're playing and you leave, your inventory will save, your statistics will save, and all that stuff. And finally, for the features category, part of our level of detail system will be implemented for alpha to improve performance. Basically, what the level of detail system is that, like, from a distance, only the exterior of a building will load in for you. You won't, like, when you're a long ways away and you see a building in the distance, all that your computer is loading in is the outside of the building. When you get closer and you look through the windows, then you'll be able to see, like, the interior stuff. But when you're a long ways away, you'll only see the outside of the buildings, you only see, like, the most basic details. And that will significantly improve performance, so don't worry about that. Also, loot will only render when you are close to it. And I don't know what definition of close is, but basically, you won't see loot from a mile away. Which, I mean, is okay, I guess, so why not? But that doesn't mean that if you are a long ways away from loot, it just won't be there. The server will still keep track of it, just your computer won't be rendering it. And that's just a basic detail of the level of detail system and all that stuff. But anyways, moving on to the content category here. The alpha will include 28 firearms across 8 different calibers of bullets and cartridges. They'll be lacking animations and special sound effects, but each will have unique stats and gameplay. In a detail sense, the guns aren't anywhere near done. They don't have animations, they don't have unique sounds. But what they do have is, like, stats and differences between guns and all that stuff. So the guns may not sound different, and they may be simplistically animated so far, but they will certainly play different, and you'll probably still find some favorites, and some will probably be unbalanced, and some will probably be okay. So, expect things to be unbalanced, expect there to be a few broken military guns, and a few really bad civilian guns. Moving on, a small handful of backpacks, vests, and belts will be available to find and wear. As a result, you'll be rewarded with more inventory space as you find better items, so there will still be a clearly better set of items, I believe. A military pack will be better than a survival pack. That's just kind of how things are going to work, I think. At least in the alpha. Clothing will be limited at the beginning of alpha, but steady progress will be made over the next weeks and after release. While there may not be much to start with, more will be added over time. Alpha will include a small selection of hats and accessories as well. So I mean, don't expect to have a very wide range of clothing and stuff, but there's gonna be some stuff there. And you get some cool hats, you get some cool gear, I don't know, sunglasses. So they're keeping the hats and accessories system, which basically means there are items that are classified as hats, and there are items classified as accessories. Like, accessories would be sunglasses, a face mask, stuff like that. Whereas a hat would be something like a cowboy hat, a helmet, I don't know. And these will not affect your stats. Keep that in mind. A helmet will not protect you any more than a cowboy hat or no hat would. So, and as for the map, the alpha map will start out as one of the larger islands of the planned whole. This is only a portion of the full map expected for the complete version of APOC 2. After alpha, more islands and chunks of the map will be added with time. However, in the alpha map, every single structure is enterable, and they all contain lootable furniture. As you can see at the top of the image, it is subject to change. Keep that in mind. But to start with, up top left, we have the lighthouse, which is on a very raised section of land, with a good view of the sandbar leading up to it. On that sandbar is a shipwreck. Now this is a destroyer ship, I believe. There are probably some people out there who know more about ships than I do. Of course there are, but this is a big military boat, and there's probably going to be some military loot on it. That's just my guess. It's all rusty, and the guns will not be usable, I'm sorry. But it'll be very interesting to explore. And also, judging by the fact that there is space between some of the islands behind the shipwreck, or below the shipwreck, I'm guessing you will be able to swim in this alpha. Although that is not mentioned anywhere. Really, aside from that point, the only way I could see swimming being actually useful is like from the lighthouse to somewhere like Fremont. Anyways, as we can see, there's a few small farms scattered around, one to the west of Fremont, one to the northeast of Fremont, one to the southeast of Fremont, one in just about the middle of the map, which that there's a structure there. I think that's probably where the beach chair silo is, which I believe I have an image for you, if you're not seeing it already. That's just my guess on the location. I could be totally wrong, but hey, just north of that center farm is the observatory, which we have some pictures of the buildings there, although there do appear to be a few buildings there that are not in the images, if I'm judging correctly. So I guess we'll see what that's like. And then to the northeast of the farm, there is the crash site, which, this is the heli crash site. In the alpha, it'll be a permanent location, always in the same spot. But it is planned that in the full game, heli crashes will randomly spawn, and you will see them fall from the sky. Like a helicopter will fly over and will crash. And you'll be able to watch it do so, which I think will be awesome. And will make the heli crashes more obvious where they are. And crash sites will also stay in the location for a very long time, and will repeatedly generate loot. So it'll be kind of a randomly generated permanent location. Whereas in the alpha, it'll be a permanent location. Then on the east side of the island, we have Hartford. Now there we can see there's probably a gas station there, if I'm judging correctly. And I mean, if you're looking at these towns, this is totally off topic, but you can see that the buildings are much more spread out than the current APOC. And that's because the buildings are much more interesting. So in the current APOC, if you run into a town, there's just a few places you stop by, like the hospital, the police station, the fire station if they have one. Maybe a gas station, I don't know. You just stop by a few specific buildings that you know there's probably going to be good loot in. And you ignore the rest of the buildings because there's not much to them. I mean, there's a lot of buildings in in the towns, so I mean, sure, that makes sense. But in this game, APOC 2, the buildings will be much more spread out. There'll be much fewer of them in towns, but they'll have detailed interiors which will take time to actually loot, will be interesting to loot, and they will actually be different from each other. So, I mean, two houses may look similar on the outside, but when you walk inside, they could have totally different furniture layouts, and totally different loot locations, and some of the houses have, like, loot stashed in little corners, and, like, basements hidden somewhere, or I don't know. It'll be cool looking for places like that. So, there'll be a lot of variety inside houses, and it'll take more time to loot the houses, so there'll be less houses. And of course, since there's way more parts in the houses, they reduce the number of houses, so that makes sense to me. Sounds much more interesting. But now I've got way off on a tangent, so let's get back to it. The northeastern part of the map looks like it's much higher up than the rest of the map, although the observatory is also just about on level with it, I think, so between the observatory and the northeastern raised part, I'm guessing that's going to be kind of deaf. Because, I mean, it's a low valley, you're surrounded by hills. I think Hartford's even on a hill, so good luck getting through there. Which, I mean, with sniper rifles, the crash site is just gonna be death. I just realized this. Like, there could be snipers from Hartford, there could be snipers from the observatory, there could be snipers from basically anywhere. And just good luck. Okay. As I say in the notes, heli crash is not planned to randomly generate for the alpha, I already went over that. And the town names displayed are especially subject to change, as they're important to the narrative of APOC 2. So, Hartford, Beaufort, Fremont, all that stuff is probably going to change. It may not, but it's probably gonna. I mean, these are the work in progress names. Anyways, enough on the map. And to the final portion of this post, value. The alpha will be released on the Dual Point Interactive Group, and it will cost 1,000 Robux to participate. As we continue development, the paid access price will reduce. After many months or longer of development, eventually APOC 2 will be ready for full release and it will become available for free. So, I'm sure we've gone over this already, but it'll cost 1,000 Robux to start with. The longer it's developed, the cheaper it'll get, the more finished it is. So, if you can't afford the 1,000 Robux, wait till it's 500 Robux, or wait till it's 200 Robux, or wait till it's 100 Robux, I don't know. It'll get cheaper, so eventually you'll be able to get on board. And again, I mean, 1,000 Robux is just a $10 Roblox card, so if you really want to participate, it's not that hard. It's just how committed are you to this game. That's the reason it has a price to it. I don't know, a lot of people are salty about the price, a lot of people don't want to have to pay that much, but I mean, the point of the price is to keep only the most committed players actually testing the place, because If it's cheap, a lot of people are going to play it. Or if it's free, like, everyone's going to play it. And they're going to see an unfinished game. There's going to be bugs, there's going to be unbalanced stuff, and they're not going to be interested. They're going to lose interest. And they just might not come back when the game is actually done, and they might not give very helpful feedback. They'll be overwhelmed with feedback. They want a smaller group of very dedicated testers to start with. And they'll be very open to feedback. So if you buy access, and you find something you don't care for, if the gun is just a little too good, or needs a little more balancing, or if some locations just aren't as good as they should be, or they just are really too good, or maybe some mechanics of the game are just a little bit off in your opinion, or some movement or whatever, or zombies are too easy to defeat or something like that, I don't know. If you don't think there's something right about the game, you just go to the subreddit, make a post about it, something like that, and they will listen. They want feedback. And what will you get for participating in the alpha? You will receive a Roblox badge labeling you as a tester. You will not receive any other tangible benefits for purchasing the alpha. It should go without saying that nothing from Apocalypse Rising will transfer to Apocalypse Rising 2 or its alpha. So, there are still some people asking for, like, their stuff to transfer from APOC 1. Like, you bought a Game Pass in APOC 1, but you want it to go to APOC 2. It's not going to happen. You bought it for APOC 1, APOC 2 is a totally different game. Your skins will not transfer, your data will not transfer, your Game Passes will not transfer, nothing like that. So, and the reason there isn't some sort of, like, reward or exclusive cosmetic for alpha testers is because Gus doesn't want people to buy the alpha for the reward. He's made it very clear that there won't be any reward. He wants people to buy it because they are dedicated to this game being good, and they want to test it. He doesn't want them buying for the cool shirt. And finally, no purchases other than the access itself will be sold in APOC 2 Alpha or any of its later test versions. If you buy access, you won't be able to buy anything else until the full release much later down the line. So there will be no Game Passes in the Alpha, there'll be no developer products, no purchasing of shirts or something, I don't know. Once you spend the 1,000 Robux, you will have access to everything in the testing. When the game fully releases, there may be Game Passes, there may be perks of some sort, I don't know. But in the alpha, in the beta, any testing versions, there will be nothing else to buy. So if you spend 1,000 Robux now, you spend nothing until the actual release. And finally he writes, if you do not see something mentioned here, it probably is not planned to be present in the alpha. Therefore, do not expect melee combat, a day-night system, or weather, prone animations, vehicles, a building system, explosives, special utilities, or a character creator. So, no hatchet or anything like that. It'll always be day, there'll be no weather, you will not be able to go prone, there will be no boats or cars, you will not be able to build any bases, there'll be no explosives, so no grenades, mines, anything. There'll be no special utilities, so probably not a map, GPS, compass, anything like that. And there'll be no character creator, so basically you probably join the game and you're given the option to spawn in. That's what I get. That's my guess. However, we expect new features and content to be continually added as we develop APOC 2. Our goal is to build a solid game from the ground up, so we look forward to your feedback helping us achieve that. So, keep in mind this is talking about the initial release. A few weeks or months down the line, there may be character creator, there may be utilities, there may be building system, there may be prone. It'll take time to add this stuff. The alpha is alpha, it's very early development. And as the alpha progresses, more stuff will be added to the alpha. So, if you want to get on board early and watch all this stuff being added, go right ahead. You'll be playing a very unfinished game, but you'll be able to help influence how things are made. If you're not interested in playing an unfinished game with lacking these features, don't buy it. If you're not interested, that means you probably wouldn't be that much of a help testing it. I'll keep making videos on it, and when you see a point where you think you're interested enough, or the game is good enough that you'll actually buy into it, then you go right ahead. And then as development continues and the price drops, more people will come on, more people testing. But as of right now, the very early alpha is just for testing the very basics of the game. And that is something that you need dedicated players for, a few dedicated players for, not a lot of them. So, a few final things. Here are some weapons that will be added, will maybe be added, and will not be added. This list came from a Discord Q&A where Gus revealed if 20 guns will be in APOC 2. So everything is subject to change, but here we go. Planned weapons: the Deagle 44, the HK-21, the FAL, the Tech 9, the M14, Auto 5, and Maverick 88. these are planned to be added. So you should be able to see these maybe in the alpha. Probably added later on, some of them. I don't know. Uncertain. Flamethrower. What even? Why a flamethrower? Okay, fine. I mean, if I could use a flamethrower, I'll be okay. AR-15 might be added. Not planned. Makarov. Now, the subreddit blew up with that one. So the Makarov will not be in the game. You'll probably start with 1911 or something, I don't know. The G36K will not be in. The HK417, the MK17, the AKS-74U, the AK-104, the OTS-14, the 5.7, the AS-VAL, the P90, and the M27. These will not be in the game. So if one of your favorite guns on there, I'm sorry, but keep in mind the guns will not be balanced like they were in APOC 1, so you'll probably find a new favorite. But yeah, anyways guys, that'll be it for this video. Again, APOC 2 Alpha comes out tomorrow, not sure what time, maybe we'll learn that later, but I'm super hyped for it. I'll be making videos from day one, so I am super hyped for it. I hope you guys are also interested, because expect a lot of that on my channel. So if you can't buy in, you can't afford the 1,000 Robux, you don't want to go out and spend $10, that's okay. You could watch stuff on my channel, or probably other channels as well, because there's going to be a lot of people doing this, because it's a big deal. I'll try to be as thorough in my coverage as possible, and give you as much APOC 2 content as I can. I'll also try to keep you guys updated on new additions, price changes, all that fun stuff. So, anyways guys, thanks so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed. What part of this do you find most interesting? What part are you most excited for? What feature would you like to see added next? What feature would you like to see prioritized in future updates? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!